Good Monday morning, everyone. It is hot and steamy here in Texas, and if you're in Houston, it's really hot and steamy because y'all got the humidity. So it's just, oh man, I'm telling you, you gotta love and hate Texas at the same time. It's a love-hate relationship here, but if you're a Texan, you understand, and we love you, Texas. We really do. But you guys listening to Author Talk with
I'd
me,
argue with you, except to
Russell. You always have to argue, but you guys know we have Russell, and then we have Daphine Brown Jack today as our guest. So you guys, hey, how are you guys doing in this hot town? Hot. Russell, don't argue with me. We love Texas. Texas is great.
well, I'd argue with you usually, but not today. I got to tell you, it is like a furnace out there. It's awful.
Already.
It is. It's like, what is it? I mean, I think yesterday the temperature was only 98 here in San Antonio where I'm at with my mom, but the heat index was like 110. I mean, you felt like you were melting in your own house just because it's hot. It's just awful. Awful. But Russell, what did you do this past weekend? I know you got some cool stuff that I want to hear about. I'm excited.
Okay, well, what you were talking about was when we were in Nevada doing some outdoor stuff. We climbed Mount Charleston, and I got to tell you, it was the last time I was there. We kept running across bear droppings, and we were in the same locality as some bears, which was kind of nerve-wracking. But this time, Vegas, the outdoors, in Nevada, it's packed. People are out, people are crowded, people are excited, people are happy, and even the trails, the hiking trails, they were packed. They were packed with people, they were packed with dogs. So there were no bears because it was so noisy.
Oh, well, that's good. You didn't have
But
bears?
It was a furnace.
Yes, I believe that, Russell.
I didn't have what?
I said, I believe that. That's literally the desert. I believe it would be a furnace.
Oh, yeah. I got to tell you, in Vegas, it was 108 every day. It was incredible. It's that dry heat. So, and there was some wind, but it didn't cool it off. So, you know how an oven is when you leave the oven on for a long time and then you open the door and your face is right in it? That's what Vegas feels like right now.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. That does not sound like a fun time. Daphine, what did you do this weekend?
Well, I'm excited to share that I was able to witness the graduation of my youngest son, last one in high school.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Yes,
that's awesome.
It's a very big deal. And then to shed some light, about 3 weekends ago, I had a graduate out of college. So I had two doubles. So I had doubles to this year of graduates. And so I'm super excited. So that was the highlight of my weekend.
Wow. Those are two.
This has been one of the big years of your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are awesome. You had two really big graduations. That is so exciting. I love it.
Very exciting. Yes.
Well, this weekend I came down to visit my mother and my family. My oldest niece just turned 13. She's the first, grandbaby of my parents. So she turned 13 on the 7th, and she did this pool party, and she wanted her Aunt Mimi and, my kids to come. So we all came down, and Josh decided to go hiking some 30-mile trail in Georgetown. So he's, text me yesterday.
Anytime you and all your sisters and kids get together, I would go hiking too if I was Josh.
Russell! Whatever. Anyway, so we did that. And a fun little thing is the Houston Writers Guild had their Ready, Set, Pitch conference this weekend. And I had the luxury, and I was so excited I got to attend each day. And Roger Leslie kicked it off, and Tex Thompson ended it on Sunday with a fantastic workshop. So it was just inspiring, so much information. I know everyone that attended, especially all of us board members and that were working it or decompressing after all of the information that went on. But we had Don Dottle was there as an agent and talking mystery and suspense. Terry Hill was there talking about blending sci-fi and fantasy. We also had Tex Thompson was talking about different ideas on editing. Corinne LaFont, which has been on Author Talk, was talking about how to market a book. So, we had some amazing speakers, and we have it all recorded. So if you didn't get to attend and you would like to check some of them out, you are more than welcome to. purchase their recordings if you want. I'll be working on those all week. So give me some time to get those up for you. But other than that, it was a lot of fun. Joshua comes back from hiking today, and my kids are playing with their grandparents. So, it was just a lot of fun times. I love it. So that was my weekend in a nutshell.
That was good.
Long and fun. It was long and fun. So
that sounds good.
Yes. But
sounds
Daphine,
awful. I think I'd rather be with Josh.
So I don't know if you want to be with Josh. I mean, it was like 110 yesterday, and that man they were running out of water. Okay. They were fixing to start boiling water. They were desperate. So, but they did hike about, I don't know, 18 miles or whatever yesterday. They did. Russell, I don't know. So Joshua hiked 4 miles in the dark. Have you ever done that? Hiked in the dark?
That's pretty scary, by the way.
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say,
that's pretty stupid planning, by the way. You need to point that out to him. That's not wise.
I told him he was dumb, but he don't listen to me. It's like, oh no, Amy, I got this. I go hiking all the time. And you're like, okay. So then he gets out there and he gets to the campsite at 11, and he texts me. He's like, yeah, it's pretty sketchy, hiking at night. Like, I probably won't do it again. Probably shouldn't do it at all. But, that's just how it goes. But Daphine, you are a lovely guest of the time. So I would love to hear all about you. So you do some amazing things. You have a nonprofit that's called Prevention Zone Inc. that I cannot wait to learn some more about. But you also have a book. Yes. And so I don't know which one you want to dive in first, but I'm ready to ask you questions on both. So which avenue would you like to go down first?
Well, I probably would start with the book, because that's one of the reasons why I have Prevention Zone Inc. So let's kind of go back 2005 to 2017. I'm a retired parole officer. Ooh. And so doing my tenure as a parole officer, I experienced some really, and if I could say this, some amazing people. A parole officer deal with people who are coming out of prison. And right. So we supervise those people. And I hate to refer to them as those people, but we supervise them. And so that's the reason I say I met some incredible people. And these are people who have committed a crime, went to prison, and coming out. And my job is to make sure they abide by the rules of their parole, as well as the laws of the land. So hopefully, the goal was to reintegrate them back into society to be successful, and public safety. So while I was going through as a parole officer, I came in contact with some people. I would have a caseload of about 60 to 75 people. And so maybe one or two out of that caseload, I would come in contact with someone who said that they were wrongfully convicted. Well, me and my law enforcement mind believe that if it's been alleged, if it's been said that you committed a crime, you got convicted, you did do it. And so, but then they would break it down as to why they say that they did not commit the crime. And the bad word is plea bargaining. They took a plea bargain because they've been sitting in the county jail for 2 or 3 years, sometime more, and got tired, and they took a plea bargain. They got convicted, went to prison. Now they're out on a caseload, and they hadn't committed a crime. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I started researching that and finding out about wrongful convictions and stuff like that. But here's the catch. During that time again, I experienced something happening within my small family, where one of my loved ones was being wrongfully accused, or was wrongfully accused. And so, not knowing that this would happen to me. And so I kept a lot of notes documented as we went through this journey. I'm in the system and in the system, if that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. So during that time, and God's grace, we came out victoriously. No prison time, overnight in jail, but we were blessed. And so, of course, it was deemed that no crimes were committed. And so that's how we came out of that. So with all of that, I wrote a book about telling people what to expect when you're going through the criminal justice system. It was an emotional trip, and we had good days and bad days, and I talked about how I dealt with it as a law enforcement officer. And at that time, I didn't reveal that I was a parole officer because I was still working while writing the book. And so the book was published in 2015, and 2 years later, I retired. And so with all of that, gave me the idea to do a nonprofit.
Wow.
Yes, that's how all of that came about. So that's the reason why I kind of had to tell that part of the story, which gives you the book.
Right.
And yeah, now the nonprofit.
Wow.
Can I ask you a question about the book before we go to the nonprofit?
Sure.
Practiced law I've just retired. I've practiced law for 38 years.
I knew there was something good about you.
And I defended a man once. Listening to your story there, I defended a man once. He was charged for murder. It was in Bexar County. He was charged for murder, and they would not release him on bail. And he was in jail. He didn't have his trial for 2.5 years. And he was in jail for the whole time. And his wife divorced him because he was in jail so long. And of course, he lost his job, and he lost his dog, and he lost everything he owned, right? And when he was found not guilty, then he was like, now what do I do?
No.
Because he was wiped out. So I understand. And that's why people take plea bargains, right?
Yes, sir.
Because they can get on with their lives. So
the easy way out.
And exactly. And I represented a lot of young men. With young men, I was always interested in keeping them out of the system that ground them up, right?
Yes.
And so many times I would have judges yell at me because I wouldn't make a deal. He's like, why won't you make a deal? Why won't you make a deal? And my position was, I don't want these young men in the system, because once they get in the grinding gears, just grinds them up.
Yep.
They can't follow every rule within the color of the line. It's going to grind them up, ruin their lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
yeah,
I look forward to reading your book. I think that'd be very exciting to read it.
Thank you. Yeah.
So what is the name of your book, Daphine?
The Other Side of the Story. So I'm telling my side as a law enforcement officer, my side dealing with the criminal justice system personally.
Nice. That's an interesting take, and motivation for a book, because most people are like, oh, okay, well, I'll just wait, or, I shouldn't tell this story of the, things that I experienced. Some people feel that way, because they've been on both sides, so it's an interesting that you use that as a inspiration, and I applaud you for that, because not most people are going to do that and write the experiences that they had on both sides, because you get an in-depth look on a parole officer and what they go through and the things that they see, and then also someone that has been in the family of someone that's been wrongfully convicted. So I think that it's important to have books like this out there, to kind of shed light on it. I think it's needed. And so, I applaud you for doing that. Not a lot of people do. So that's amazing. And you are a parole officer. So thank you so much, because those people are very important, because, especially if they've been, away for a long time, they need help getting back into society, and they need that support system. So the job that you did was very important. And so, I thank you for doing that. But I love to hear that. So so we started on this journey. You were a pro officer. Now you've written this book. So now take us on the journey to Prevention Zone Inc.
So with all of that, I had just gobs of research, because if y'all need anybody to research, I'm the research guru. If you tell me boo, I'm going to research what is boo, and I'm going to find out and give you a story about boo. But anyway, I don't know why.
So you're saying it's really bad when one of your kids lied to you about something you find out.
Baby,
is that what you're saying?
That's a whole nother episode of this show. because I'm zero tolerance for that. I try to be honest as possible. If I find that I might not have told the truth, or if I lied, I'm going to come back and say, you know what? I didn't tell the truth about that. And I would suffer the consequences growing up as a child, because my mama would ask, well, who did it? Who did it? And I'm sitting there like, oh, she's going to spank me or whatever the case may be. So I usually wind up getting a spanking. So I'm known for being as honest as possible. And yes, my kids, that is a no-no. So, so with that being said too, from the book, I was thinking along the line of how I can help people who are going through the criminal justice system, how I can help people who might be faced with a plea bargain and they didn't commit a crime. And so just thinking of ways, but I had that going. And then I have a son, the one that just graduated on yesterday, about in the 8th grade, I believe, 8th, 9th grade. I was thinking along the line of trying to nurture these young boys, including my son, and to stay in focus. Because when you look at my family, we've had people say, oh, look at the Jack family. Oh, you know, that's so sweet, blah, 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 beautiful kids, yeah. But we were going through. We went through a lot of changes. And so I wanted to nurture those boys into staying in the positive fold, because we don't really consider those kids that's coming from a strong family background, a strong single parent that is raising them to do good. They are faced with challenges too. And so that was the reason I tapped into what we started out as Young Men Gathering. We talked about the criminal justice system. We had a judge to come and talk to him about the criminal justice system. So we started with that. So I got thinking of helping people that's going through the system, now the young youth boys that are growing up. So all of that moving forward, we came into the opportunity of thinking about how we can do this. And so I met with a team of people early on, and they came up with the idea of prevention zone. And they said, what you're going to be doing is preventing people from going into the system. That means the youth and then the people who are going through it. And so we started out with a type of plan, but of course, what is your name again? I'm sorry. Russell, you being an attorney knows how we have to be extremely careful how we try to do things because of the law and everything. And so we couldn't go from that perspective. And so then I came up with, wow, what about those people who have been wrongfully convicted, gone to prison, and now they're out? What are they doing? Come to find out, long story short, these guys are being convicted, wrongfully convicted, going into prison, staying 10, 20, 30 years. And Russell, you know about that. And when they come out, they have no resources available for them, like the guys that are going to prison coming out on parole. When they're exonerated, they collect all of their goods, 10, 20, 30 years of their personal belongings, and walk out of that gate. That's it. All they have is their family. Whereas when a guy that's coming out of prison on parole, he gets a $50 check before he leaves the unit. When he gets to the office to meet with me, he gets another $50. Then I take him in the office and we talk about how can we help you reintegrate back into society successfully. With the exonerees, nothing like that happens. Now, I did find out that there is a program. There is things available. But think about it. When you are locked up for 10, 20, 30 years and you leave out of that unit, you don't want to have nothing else to do with the criminal justice system. You don't want to have nothing to do with prison. And so therefore, they are let out with no resources from that aspect, no reentry or anything. And so that's why I created.
And it's even more than that, Daphne, because they've been re-educated in the prison think system, which does not in any way coordinate with the real world system. So they're even less, they're even more disarmed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so that's why we came along with the idea of having a reentry program for those guys, and along with that, we got the youth that are going through, and we're talking with them, nurturing them in a positive path. That's why we had about 9 or 10 youth to graduate under our program this year, including my son and a lot of his friends. I had a couple of nieces, because we wind up changing young men gathering, which is what we started out, to young people gathering, because we added the girls. And so it was about 9 of those kids that was under our program graduated this year. And so we had a little event for them this past Saturday as well. But taking it on even further, now you're talking about the children that have incarcerated parents. Mm-hmm. How are those kids being dealt with? You got kids. Now, I was a school teacher, 6th grade social studies. And so I came in contact with kids who was being bad because their daddy was in prison, or whatever the case may be. The mom was in prison, or parents on drugs, whatever the case may be. So those kids are very important. And so we have those 3 programs: the reentry for exonerees, children with incarcerated parents, and young people gathering. And then we do have a mentorship service that we will provide for anyone that come through our umbrella that might need, continued help, and, help talk, someone to talk to. And so that's prevention.
So you're not really retired, are you? Because you've got like 15 jobs now.
Just go and read everything about me, and you'd be like, do you ever sleep? I do get some rest, enough, because my brain is
I don't
always
think
racing.
you can.
Huh?
You don't have anyone saying to you, so now that you're retired, what do you do? They don't say that to you, do they?
They do, and I tell them, please don't ask. And I just give them my 2 websites, and I said, go check me out. Then you understand. And they'll come back like, oh my God.
What are your 2 websites?
So my website for my book is Daphine, www.daphinebjack, B as in Brown, DaphineBjack.com. And then the website for our nonprofit Prevention Zone Inc. is www.preventionzoneinc.org.
And what can someone do if they want to support your nonprofit? How do people support it, and what can they do?
Yes, you could go to our website, and we have these bright blue donation buttons there in the top right corner. Click donate, and it'll take you through the process of being able to give to our nonprofit.
Yeah, I have also put the links in the comments, so if you want to check them out and help, support Prevention Zone Inc. as best you can, or if you want to check out Daphine's book and the inspiration behind starting Prevention Zone Inc., those are also in the comments down below. But man, Daphine, I'm agree with Russell. I don't really feel like you're retired. I mean, you are just moving, but I love the things that you're doing and the way that you're helping these people and these kids out. I think it's very important.
And I forgot to share something else. I do have a podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. Russell is just cracking up. I'm sorry, Russell. I hate to throw all that on you. But I do have a podcast, and the podcast
I want to be on your podcast.
Oh, you know what? You will. So, Amy, give him all of my information so that we can talk. We will have a good dialogue. So the podcast is called If Emmett Was Alive Today podcast. Russell, you know who I'm talking about, right? Nope.
No.
Nope. Okay. Emmett Till. Does that ring a bell? Emmett Till, 1955. Emmett Till is a young man who was wrongfully murdered for something he did not do at the age of 14. He went down just to visit his uncle and have a good time in Money, Mississippi. And he was alleged to have whistled at a woman, and the rest is history.
No.
I have so many stories I've been told and shared by relatives of stories like that. We could go on forever. I would love to
Exactly.
be on your podcast.
Yes, yes, and I'm going to make sure. So what I've done, I was out of commission like all of 2020. And so I had some interviews that I needed to publish. And so last week I was able to publish a new episode. And in the past, I've actually interviewed an exoneree named Anthony Graves. He lives here in the Houston area, and he has an amazing story. And the one I had that was released on last week is Christopher Scott. He has an amazing story. So we're on all the podcast platforms. And so you can go and Google If Emmett Was Alive Today podcast. And that's going to be about the only podcast that pops up. So you know what that means. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
And so check it out. And Russell, Amy, give him all of my information so we can talk, because I will be needing to interview some new people. And I'm actually working with the Innocence Project of Texas. We're not partnered, but I am working with someone who was wrongfully convicted, stayed in prison for 24 years. And so just getting that opportunity. So I'm going ahead. So we have a new show that's coming out tomorrow. This is with a judge out of Michigan, and his name.
Tell us, how do you find it?
Huh?
How do you find your podcast?
Tell us how to find it.
I'm sorry. That's okay. I guess we're delayed. If Emmett Was Alive Today podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I will absolutely put you in touch with Russell. I think he would be a perfect fit for that podcast. Absolutely.
Yes. But it's been fun being here with you guys. I've really enjoyed it. I'm actually doing it off my phone because I have a computer that I need to work on. It loads extremely slow. And I started about 45 minutes ago trying to get this thing up. So, but I'm so happy to be here.
I'd say it's time for a new one.
Yeah, well, if I clean it up, Russell, I think it would be, because it's not like a really old computer. I just have a lot of, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff on the computer. Need to delete a whole bunch of stuff off of there probably and to run real quick.
No, I definitely understand that. My husband sneaks onto my computer and deletes random stuff all the time. Then I go looking for it and he's like, I thought that was irrelevant. Happens all the time to me. So I totally understand. But Daphine, this has been so much fun to have you here and to hear your story and your inspiration behind your book, which fed into, the nonprofit that you have. And so you're doing amazing things, and we're so excited to hear about them and to help you out in any way that we can. And I know Mr. Russell needs to talk about our YouTube channel before I close us out.
Yes. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do. It helps our algorithms so we can be introduced to even more people by YouTube that might be interested, whose algorithms are a lot like your algorithms. Please subscribe. Please check the like and leave a message.
Perfect.
Yes. But you guys, it's so amazing. Mondays are my favorite day of the week because I get to kick it off here on Author Talk and talk to all of you and bring new authors and new publishers and nonprofits that are doing amazing things in this country. So you guys, until next time, this has been an Author Talk, and we will see you all next Monday. Daphine, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.